Hi everybody, this is Fox Club. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to all the new subscribers out there. I appreciate it. This is my day 1 of Daisy Yellow's Index Card a Day challenge. I am working on a 4x6 card. I've already laid down the book page and gessoed over it. Actually, this is a reject card. I tried to do something else to the background. It didn't work out, so I did the book page and the gesso over it. So, excuse my sniffiness. I am suffering from allergies at the moment and my medicine is not working. But I am starting off with putting down a light layer of gray paint, acrylic paint, spritzed the heck out of it with water so it's nice and fluidy. And then now I've got my medium tone, put a little dollop onto this acetate sheet. This is the backings to one of the stamp sheets. I don't know where it came from, but I know it came with some rubber stamps that I got ages ago. Spritzing it with water, splotching it down, and now I like the little kind of messy, you don't know randomness where it's going to go type of backgrounds. So now this is my Liquitex acrylic ink in muted gray. The muted gray is not gray at all. It is very, very purple. Lovely shade of purple, but not the gray that I was hoping for, so I'm kind of blotting most of it off. I like a little bit of color, but it was a bit too purpley. So now I'm going to go in with a darker gray. I think this is charcoal with Delta acrylic paints. And doing the splashy things, because I didn't mix that gray in with the water very well, it's very spotty, which again is perfectly fine. Don't mind that at all. So now I'm going to do some background stamping with this is a Finnabair Crackle stamp from Prima marketing, and I'm just dabbing on that muted gray onto there. And I don't know if you can see, especially in the upper right corner, those cracks are gorgeous. This actually worked out quite well. Just rubbing it on with my finger and tapping it down randomly here and there. Because it's a very liquidy kind of ink, it doesn't glob up. You still want to wash your stamp as soon as you're done though, because it will permanently mess up your stamp if you don't. I also go back in with some water can gray, I think is called acrylic ink, not acrylic ink, archival ink, excuse me. And now I'm kind of doing the same with this Carabelle Studio stamp. This is a text collage stamp. Details again will be in the description box below if you're interested. So here is my Alfred Hitchcock stamp from Viva Las Vegas. I bought a bunch of stamps and I was really excited to use him. I think it's actually called Banksy Hitchcock. Yeah, but Banksy Alfred Hitchcock stamp. I'm stamping him onto tissue paper. Because of the acrylic paint background, I wasn't sure that I would get a very good impression with all the texture with the paints and stuff, even though I watered it down. So I stamped him onto acrylic paper. I do have a background scrap piece of index card I used to wipe excess ink off. That's what all that dark mess is, and that will prevent any of that ink from seeping through the tissue paper onto my stamp platform. Stamp him a couple of times because this is the first time I've used him. I really wasn't getting a very good impression. Also, my glass mat's a little wobbly on my table. I'm working on a round kitchen table, so the edges kind of hang off the side, of the glass mat. So not always the most stable background. That's why my camera seems a little wobbly sometimes. But look at that stamp. Ain't it gorgeous? I love it. Here I have printed out a sentiment. I don't remember what it says, but you'll see it in a moment. I'm using some water to tear off the edges of the tissue paper. This will help those edges blend in when I glue him down. And you'll see I'm going to make a mistake here in a bit when I actually do glue him down, but you'll see. I wanted more red, like a bloody kind of red, not red, but like murder red. And this is a high flow golden fluid acrylics and Quinacridone Magenta, I believe, and it has that perfect color that I wanted. It's not gory red. It's not blood red, but it gives that sinister look to it that you get from Hitchcock's films. So here is my sentiment, and I'm going to tape it down. It is a plastic label maker, or a label maker with plastic tape that I've used, so the tape is very shiny. And here you see me going over it with clear gesso because I want to add some splatters to it, and it's not going to stick to the plastic coating, so I need to make a surface that that paint will stick to. So that's why I did the gesso, because nothing wants to stick to a clear plastic surface. So my gesso wasn't quite dry, so some of those splatters bled into the gesso a little bit, which is perfectly fine because I like the grungy, messy look. Now this is a blank washi tape or tissue paper from Jane Davenport. The idea is you make your own washi paper, your own design by stamping on it and painting on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put down a little bit of watered down gray acrylic because I want to get rid of the stark white. And just kind of lightly putting over. I'm not being overly careful. It's going to get grunged up anyway. So after that is dry, it dried pretty quick actually. I'm going to take my Alfred Hitchcock stamp and I'm going to stamp some of those birds onto it. Make my own bird themed washi paper in keeping with the rest of the page there, or the card I should say. Now the birds really aren't very well defined, so a lot of them kind of ended up like splotches. I don't think they turned out to look like birds much at all, but that's still okay because, you know, it is what it is. And if you know me, you know I love my washi tape, so I had to pull out my stripy tape and kind of give Mr. Hitchcock a platform to stand on and kind of add my little layers there. See, it kind of, to me it looks like speckles, but that's okay. Get my tape down there, use my leftovers, and here's where I'm going to make a mistake here in a bit. You're going to see, and I didn't even notice until afterwards. I'm going to glue down my tissue paper, and because I kind of tore the edges, it's going to blend in very nicely to the background, and there's my mistake. I reversed the stamp, which tissue paper is really great for, but that's not the orientation of the stamp, and it kind of, I have to hide my mistake. Well, I adjusted to my mistake, let me say that. So cutting up the quote there to put up there, I think the words were a little larger than what I planned them to be, but I'll make it work. So get those stamps up there and let the glue dry. Try to be careful there. You're going to see here in a bit, because I stamped on washi paper, or I'm sorry, because I stamped on tissue paper, I did not really think about the background showing through, which is the great thing on tissue paper, but it's also a setback. You can't see Mr. Hitchcock's face. He just blends in too much into the background. So you'll see my in the photos at the end of this video, I fixed it by restamping Mr. Hitchcock onto, I think it was mixed media paper, and I fussy cut him out and I overlaid it on the top of the card. I colored him in with some zig markers, and that's how I fixed that. But he was facing in the wrong direction. Well, on the wrong direction on the tissue paper. I chose not to include that in the video. I didn't think that you guys would find that very interesting to see. But you can get closer looks at the photos at the end of the video. Now I'm just edging the sentiment, the quote, and I'm using my Stabilo Marks-All. Sorry for the break, guys. My husband came in and was talking up a storm. Didn't realize I was recording, so I had to cut in here a bit. But yes, using my Stabilo Marks-All to edge everything around, kind of get some shadowing in there. Now I need to color Mr. Hitchcock, because at this point I thought I could make it work. This is where I realized that I made a mistake with reversing the stamp and stamping it on tissue paper. So this is Titan Buff. This is the golden high flow acrylic paint. It's very, very liquidy. So I'm going to try to paint his face and his hands, and it didn't work. It was, the paint itself is kind of translucent, and of course the tissue paper is, and I just was not getting the definition that I really wanted to get from this. But, you know, I kept trying. So I gave up at this point, and I decided to lay down a little bit more of that Quinacridone Magenta. I don't know why I felt like I needed more of that red, but I felt like I needed it. Just some final touches in here, and I'm trying to think of how am I going to salvage this card. That painting Hitchcock's face in was not working. I've kind of had the panic moment that, oh my gosh, I kind of ruined it. This is English Oxide Red, I believe, a fluid acrylic, trying to add a little bit more of a color into the hand and the face. And again, it wasn't working. And I was stressing at this point because I was going so well. Yeah, and decided to edge the card in that dark gray. It's called charcoal. And thinking what I'm going to do, and you'll see when the pictures come up. What I ended up doing was I stamped him onto mixed media paper, fussy cut him out, and I glued him over the background. And there you go. That is Mr. Hitchcock, looking a whole lot better than what he did before. So thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you think. Subscribe if you like what you see, and I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the challenge.